In this video, we're going to talk to you about the calendar in Teesom. I want to start off with opening an order that we have here on the job board. I'm just going to click on this order number for InStyle Hair Salon. And I just want to talk to you that when I invoiced this order, or perhaps the customer converted it and made it an invoice, the date that was set for the due date was by default also the same date that it was to be produced by. So if you don't want the production date to be the same as the due date, there's only one of two things that you can do. You can either change the date here on the info tab under dates, or you can go to the calendar view and change the date. So I'm just going to move this to, let's move this to December 30th. And so the in-hands date is January 3rd, and we've moved the production date to December 30th. And that still gives us plenty of time to do any finishing to the job, or perhaps box it up for shipping and actually ship it. So let's go ahead and prove to you that this is now the date that this job appears on the calendar. The calendar is all about production. So let's go ahead and head over to the calendar, and we want to look for our InStyle order and find it on December 30th. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and here's December 30th, and here is our InStyle Hair Salon. And if I did want to now move this, let's say I want to produce it earlier, I can actually left click on that job and just drag it over to the date that I do want to run it on. Okay, so now that we have the InStyle Hair Salon job on the 27th, let's go ahead and open the job, and we can actually do that from the calendar. Do you see how there's a hyperlink now that I can click on to actually open the order? And we'll confirm that the dates on the production now say that it's 12/27. So like I said, those the calendar and this production date here are synced. All right, let's go back to the calendar and let's look at a couple of other features here. Let's start at the top. As you can see, we've got currently what's defaulting is the monthly view. We can actually change that to a weekly view. And what that will do is zoom in on just 1 week of a time period. And then we can use our directional arrows to either show next week, or we can go back a week, or back 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. So use those directional arrows, whether it's at the week view or the month view. Let's go back to the month view. The auto refresh here is so that you don't miss any jobs. And what do I mean by that? Well, right now, as I'm viewing the calendar here, another user of mine could actually be logged in and just literally converted an invoice that needs to show up on the calendar. You have the option to check off the box that says auto refresh, and Teesom will do an auto refresh. I think it's like every 3 to 5 seconds. Or you can always just manually refresh. Occasionally you'll get a little request here that says you need to refresh, and that's probably, again, because somebody just converted an invoice. Okay, these icons right here will allow you to filter the calendar by specific job types. So if I just want to view all the screen printing jobs, I will click on the screen printing icon, and you will only see screen printing jobs now. And if I want to view screen printing and embroidery, I can also click on that icon, and now I'm only seeing screen printing and embroidery. To view just the embroidery, I'll uncheck this screen printing icon, and now I'm just viewing embroidery. So uncheck everything to bring everything back into view. Now let's look at the information that the job is actually showing us on the calendar. So as you can see, there's little dots next to each job on the calendar. And if I hover over each one of those, it's going to tell me what is still needed for this job. So for example, when I'm hovering over this job on the 23rd, it says the goods and art are not ready. If I go to the next job, it says the goods are not in and art is approved. So if I click on that job, I can see the art's approved. The customer is actually supplying these goods. So I didn't need to order them, but I do need to receive them in. And as you can see, I can left click on the actual job itself, and it'll always show me additional information. If I click on the art image, and in this case I have no art on here because I haven't even started the art, but if I do click on the art image, it'll show me what all shirts I'm going to be either printing this on, or in this case transferring an image onto the shirts. And it'll show me all the sizes and the quantities of all the sizes that are getting this particular imprint. I also have access to the action button, which then allows me to open the order and many other things that I can do from here. So the calendar view is very interactive, just like the job board is. All right, as you can see, I've got a couple of holidays in view here. I've got Christmas Day, I've got New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. And if I take a job like this Firebrand ink job and left click and hold it, if I try to drag it to the holiday, it actually will not allow me to move it to the holiday. These days are actually so-called blocked off. Now, how did I create those holidays? I went to the main menu, I went to settings, I went to company setup, and in the operating hours section is where I put in these holidays. So the next holiday, gosh, I think it might be, it's probably President's Day, actually. Let's go to President's Day is probably going to be that Tuesday the 21st. Let's just make it up. And we'll say we're not going to operate any hours. And then we would put it's President's Day. That's why we don't want any jobs booked on that particular day. So I've added just an exception for that. So now when I go back to the calendar, we can actually view next month, and we can see that on the 21st, we've got President's Day. And again, if I try to take a job, it won't allow me to move it to that specific holiday. Nor when I create a job will it allow me to book that. That day is officially blocked out. The other thing I want to mention real quick, let's go back to our December calendar, is if you try to book a job on a day that is after the in-hands date for the customer. So I'm going to take Firebrand ink and I'm going to drag it over here to the 3rd. Watch what happens to the icon, and let's actually jump over. Let's go to the next month to actually see it a little bit better. Look at the little icon that is on the Firebrand ink job now. It's now saying, look, you've got this being produced after the in-hands date. So if I need to see the in-hands date, I'll just click on the job itself and I can see that this was due on the 26th. So I cannot move this job to any day after the 26th. So I would want to jump back to December, and let's take the Firebrand job and let's put it actually on the 26th. And you can actually see that that little warning symbol disappears. The final thing I want to talk to you about is the ability to pop out a specific day. So let's look at the 23rd here, and notice there are 4 jobs on the 23rd. I'm going to actually move a couple of more jobs to the 23rd. And so now you can see that there are 6 jobs here, but only 4 are in view right now. If I click on that red badge that has the number 6 in it, what it does is it actually pops it out. So you actually don't have a 23rd on the calendar anymore. It's kind of popped out here to the side. And why I want to do that is so that I can see all the orders here. And then go ahead and hit the X to bring it back into the calendar. And another good way to see all 6 jobs would be to change to the weekly view. And this will just continue to grow as you have additional jobs in there. And I actually like the weekly view for, it's just a more in-depth, hey, today this is what I need to focus on kind of view. Makes everything a little bit bigger. So if you're planning, you're probably going to want to view the monthly view. And if you're running production, you're going to probably want the weekly view. Okay, so I hope this clears up some questions you may have had about the calendar and using the calendar, changing dates for the calendar, and just overall using it to the best of your capability. Thanks for watching.